Okay, we're on question 5 now. So the following ratios have been calculated from the most recent financial statements of Buy It Limited and Sell It Limited. So Buy It and Sell Them. Both businesses operate as wholesales in the home electronics industry, so they're the same industry. And we're given a number of ratios. So current, average collection period, average days in inventory, profit margin, return on assets, return on ordinary shareholders' equity, debt to total assets, and cash return on sales. And it says compare the liquidity, solvency, and profitability of the two entries. So we've got to compare liquidity, solvency, and profitability. So what I have to do is I have to work out which of these ratios fall under liquidity, which of these fall under solvency, and which of them fall under profitability. So let's go. My current ratio is a liquidity ratio. Average collection period and average days in inventory are also liquidity ratios. They tell me how quickly I collect my money. Profit margin, as it says, is a profitability. Return on assets is profit divided by assets. That's a profitability. Return on shareholders' equity is profit divided by shareholders' equity. Debt to total assets, well, this is a comparison of liabilities and assets, so that is solvency. And cash return on sales is a profitability. Now, all your ratios are on your formula sheet. And the first number are all liquidity. The next few down to here are solvency. And then from the bottom all the way down and over the page, all the way down to price earnings is profitability. So get to know your formula sheet. These are depreciation and, cash dividends is a profitability as well. So get to know those. Now it says compare the liquidity, solvency and profitability. Let's talk about the liquidity first. My liquidity. Now if I'm looking here, I'm looking at my current ratio. Now 1's not bad, 1's okay, that indicates reasonable liquidity. 1.2 is better, up to 1.5 is good. So I'm going to have to say that Salem has better liquidity here in this ratio. We've got my average collection periods. They're taking 50 days to collect from their customers here, and they're collecting 10 days here. So I've got to say that's got to be better for cash flow, better for liquidity, turning money into cash or turning items into cash. My average days in inventory, I've got 57 days here and I've got 45 days here. So that would indicate to me is better. Now if I look at these two, that's 55 days versus 107 days. So if I buy my inventory and it takes me 45 days to sell it, then it takes me 10 days to collect it. It's taken me 55 days to turn inventory into cash. And here I've got 57 days plus 50 is 107 days. So 57 days to sell my inventory, 50 days to collect from my customers means that I've got 107 days. So in this case, I would say Salem is more liquid. So, simple comparison. Of current ratios indicates Salem is more liquid. Buy It takes 107 days to turn inventory to cash, whereas Salem takes only 55 days. This indicates better liquidity. All right, so we've done my liquidity. Simple. Solvency. Solvency, what have we got? We've got 72.5% to 70%. Now, solvency indicates a company's ability to pay its long-term commitments, so it's non-current liabilities. So what I'm looking for here is they've obviously got less debt to assets here, so that would put them in a more, well, in a better position. So Salem has a lower debt to assets. Indicating better solvency. Now, it's not by much, but it's enough. All right, let's look at profitability. Profitability, let's have a look. We've got profit margin 3.4% to 2.8%, so that's obviously better. A return on assets of 3.7 versus 7.3, much better. Return to ordinary shareholders 20.8 versus 11.3. And cash returns on sales 2.5 to, oops, I shouldn't have ticked that one, to there. So look, indicating that Salem has better profitability. So let's go, profitability. Salem has, let's look at the first one, higher profit margin. What else have we got? It's got a greater return on assets. So that's a greater return on assets. And a higher return for shareholders. Also, it makes more cash return for sales, for each dollar of sales. Okay, so it's done. That's my profitability, solvency and profitability done. The last bit it asks me, so in number 2, is select which company is in more sound financial position. Salem. Sound. Now, if you're wondering where your marks are in that, there's 7 marks in the first part, so let's go. So what you're doing is indicates Salem is more liquid. Takes 107 days for the inventory to turn into cash, where it only takes 55, so there's 3 marks. Salem has a lower debt to assets, is 4. And my profitability has a higher profit margin, has a greater return on assets, and has a higher return for shareholders, and each has a better cash return for sales. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7. And so it ticks off my 7 up there. And then there's only 1 mark for making a choice. Choice is very obvious. There's an easy mark.